Just a quick message before we start. I've got a brand new website, spanking brand new. Go to simandan.co.uk. And on there's also a new merchandise shop where you can get t-shirts like this one, brand new designs inspired by my logo. This one obviously saying that the Earth is not flat. You can also tell people that we totally went to the moon, that evolution is a fact, and you can even thank Bob. As I said, simandan.co.uk, and you can get to the shop from the menu there. Dell from Beyond the Imaginary Curve is an old school flat earther. He brings you such experiments as pouring water on a ball.
What happens when we pour liquid on the basket? Now, I'm going to try really hard. I want to be as honest as I can. I want as much of this water to stick to the surface of this basketball as I possibly can.
Well, he's famous in flat earth circles for speaking to people on the streets about flat earth. Well, today we're going to take a look at one of these interviews, and it doesn't end up the way that he hopes. Hello all and welcome along to another episode of Flat Earth Friday with me, Simon Dan. Thank you very much for joining me. Before we begin today, a huge thank you to the sponsors of today's video, Bespoke Post. Bespoke Post is a monthly membership club delivering awesome boxes of top shelf goods from under the radar brands. And it's free to join. They purchase 90% of the products in their boxes from small businesses, many of which are right in the United States. Every month they introduce their members to cool new products. Outdoor gear, barware, home and kitchen goods, clothing and more. Even live oysters. Their box lineup is constantly changing each month, and all of this is based on a preference quiz which you fill out before you begin. Just look at the incredible range of boxes available. Personally, I'm loving this Explore box. I've been wanting to go out much longer walks with the dog, and something like this would be perfect. An awesome bag with a water bottle and a head torch, plus an energy bar included. Nice. Every box has around $70 of retail value contained, but only costs a fraction of the price. To get 20% off your first box, click the link in the description and enter SIMAN20 at checkout, or go to bespokepost.com/Simon20. Right, back to today's video where Dell from Beyond the Imaginary Curve is trying to convert people on the streets to flat earth. However, one of his interviews doesn't go the way that he hopes, and it ends on a pretty sour note with a student actually calling Dell out. Here we go.
I'm going to ask you some questions. Usually I try and kind of lead in with this and get some grounds on reasoning and stuff. Do you understand like logical reasoning and that type of process?
Yeah.
Well, can I ask you what you're studying?
I'm doing zoology.
Zoology. Have you heard of flat earth?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on it?
This is the part where we all hold our breath.
I don't think they're flat.
Whew, would expect nothing less from a zoology student. Good stuff.
You don't think it's flat?
No.
This is where I want to go about the logical reasoning, and I'm asking people as individuals. So you know what an appeal to authority is?
Yeah.
You know these types of fallacies that people invoke, bandwagon, yada yada. If I ask you as a man to man, if you could reason with me and convince me that the Earth was a globe, how would you go about that?
Now this is a pretty dodgy tactic from Dell here. Unless you're a physicist or earth scientist of some sort, then this question isn't the easiest to answer for the average person. Now Dell knows this, which is why he leads with it.
Well, like the experiment where you shine two lights between a box, and then if the Earth, over like a long distance, shine a laser. And if the Earth is flat, you'd be able to see those two lines and intersect them. But if you do that, you don't see them.
Right.
So you see it being lower if it's far enough away, I think like 17 miles there.
Now that isn't actually a bad suggestion, and something I expect Dell wasn't expecting, which is why he then says this.
Can I ask you where you got that information from? Was it a YouTube video or one of these types of things?
Yeah.
Have you conducted that yourself?
I have not. No.
Have you analysed it?
I've not analysed it. No.
Well, things like the refractive index and how light would function through mediums, different temperature, different pressure, different density, how these would be factored into the types of things?
I have not, no.
You've no? Is that the only thing that you could offer me in regards to the Earth being a globe?
Just because this student hasn't done this doesn't mean that he can't. Anyone can. Anyone can do this experiment, and actually a flat earther has done this sort of experiment before. Haven't they, Jaron?
We don't see you, Enrique. Lift up your light way above your head. Interesting.
Never gets old, that one.
Pictures from the moon landing, but then I don't really know if I believe the moon landing. So.
Oh, flipping hell, come on. Come on, buddy. Now I'm going to have to debunk the student as well.
So that's again, if I was to reason with you and I was to, for me that would open a can of worms up. If that was to set a precedent, a standard, that knew that I could say to you, well listen, I've got pictures of Mickey Mouse.
Okay.
Do you now accept that as scientific valid reasoning for Mickey Mouse's existence being objectively true?
The trouble is, having pictures of Mickey Mouse is just pictures of Mickey Mouse. Is anyone going to come forward and say they saw Mickey Mouse? Or is anyone going to say they took the photo of Mickey Mouse? No. No, they're not. The thing with this picture, for example, is that it was taken in 1972 by the crew of Apollo 17 on the way to the moon. 3 people actually saw what was being taken.
No, I suppose you wouldn't.
So do you think it's reasonable then to opt for what you see two-dimensionally on a screen as being valid reasoning for a belief?
I mean, you could get into the fact that you can't really believe anything, because unless...
Yep.
Bang on, it would get pedantic and silly. At some point you have to draw a line. Imagine getting everyone at home to hold their breaths until you can get a test tube and fill it up with some of the air surrounding everyone, and then put a blown out splint in there to let it ignite, to tell you that some oxygen is actually present in that air before saying, it's okay everyone, you can take a breath. But only one breath because I've got to test the next batch of air. I know that Dell is a big Celtic Football Club fan. How does Dell know that every single player playing for Celtic is registered to do so? Has he checked their contracts? Has he gone to the SPL headquarters to confirm that every single Celtic player is registered to Celtic properly? No, he hasn't. He trusts Celtic Football Club that they've done the correct paperwork.
You can conduct something yourself.
Yeah. And that's the point. Do you not think that's reasonable to be that way?
No, because of the examples I just gave there.
So if another man for you make a claim to me about the objective world, if I kind of demonstrate that to myself, directly measure it, observe it, would you say that's scientific or unscientific?
There's so much data involved in a lot of scientific experiments that not one person could carry them out.
Yeah.
Dell's trying to talk about what's scientific with a zoology student. Good luck with that one, Dell.
So it's debatable. One of my modules is philosophy and looked at epistemology.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different theories out there that you could believe in one thing or another, and you can never truly know anything from some theories.
That's a kind of philosophical position. I take it direct from experiential. So, you know, I take reality being objective. You know, there's definite physical laws regardless of my belief in them. An example, if a newborn child comes out of the hospital and there's a car accident, there's a definite cause and effect. There's no requirement for a philosophical belief or any of these things in that child. So there is an objective reality as far as I'm concerned.
What a weird example that was.
So if a man makes a claim to me, I expect to be able to demonstrate it practically and physically. Would you think that's sound reasoning to go on?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's it.
So again, I'll come back to it. If the Earth's a globe, can you reason with me? Can you convince me? By the way, I'm not invested in anything, one way or the other.
Yeah, Dell, you're the most partial commenter in the community, aren't you?
Little smug weirdo with your idiotic cartoonery. Right? You, son, are the charlatan. You are out there to make money and infect the minds of people with your pseudoscience and your sophistry. I experience the Earth as being a level plane. That's my immediate experience. Do you experience that?
Depends how far you can actively see, because like for example, if you go to like the seaside and then you look out in the ocean, eventually the Earth stops. You can see a slight curvature.
From left to right?
From left to right, and then you also see it when it's further away.
I've conducted these types of things, and the horizon's called the horizon because it's a horizontal. So from one side to the other, it's a perfectly straight line.
Yes, just like a beach ball would look to a bacterium.
What I postulated was as an equilateral triangle. So if you're an observer and you think that you're seeing a curve left to right, or you see something going over a curve in the distance, if I'm at 60 degrees to you and the object, what I should then get is a definite drop from a centre point left to right. Do you agree with that? But
I don't do physics, but yeah.
Yeah, but you can reason, you understand what I'm saying to you. But in reality, that's not there. The horizon's a perfect straight line. If I put a spirit level up with a tripod and a pan, over a span of 180 degrees, there's no deviation from the spirit level and the horizon.
Ah, the physicist apparatus of choice, the spirit level.
Well, it depends how far out you're seeing, because I think there is. I've not conducted the experiment myself, but from what I've perceived, there has been.
See, what I'm getting to here is the whole point. That this is what I'm trying to uncover and establish, is that people have these beliefs, but they don't fully comprehend why.
Dell, he's just told you he's seen it himself.
And you know, you're citing things that you would admit yourself, you don't fully comprehend them, you've never conducted them. And what I'm trying to uncover is that it's a bit flaky, the reasons for why people accept these things to be true, and expose that. So,
yeah, but there's so much information in the world that
Yep.
you can't physically go about and verify every single
Yep.
piece of information.
Yep.
There's just too much information.
of course, for specific aspects, but for two human beings that experience the world directly, I think it has to be something that's accessible to anybody, and we should be able to reason and point to these things quite freely.
Is it alright if we cut this short? Sorry, my mate's
Sorry,
actually
man.
waiting
I
for
appreciate
me.
your time. Thank you so much,
Have a
buddy.
good
You
day.
too, thank you.
So, a fail there for Dell. Anyone else knocking around that you can try and convert?
You heard the people questioning the shape of the earth?
Yes.
Flat earthers, all that stuff. What's your thoughts on it?
Rubbish.
Rubbish. Bollocks.
Oh dear, matey. Oh well, you can't win them all, can you? Now, Dell chats to this group of 3 students for about another 13 or 14 minutes before, right at the end, one of the students actually calls Dell out. Watch this.
But listen, guys, I don't want to leave it in a bad taste. I appreciate your time.
That's all.
And see, the thing is people get really triggered by this. And I think that that's something that people should really look at as well.
I just don't think people like being manipulated with fancy words.
Do you think I'm manipulating you?
Just I think you're trying to get a reaction out of this.
Think so?
Yeah,
And can you give me specifics?
I do. I think you're standing there with that camera right there and you're saying these fancy words, and I just think you're trying to get a reaction out of this.
Get in, buddy. This is a great point. Seasoned flat earthers like Dell and Nathan Oakley, they talk a great game. They actually sound like they know what they're talking about to the average person on the street. They can twist and mould the conversation the way they want it to go. That is a great shout there from that student. Excellent work, buddy.
Could you give me a specifics?
I can just see it.
I could just say
You're
that
asking
you.
me questions and
Well,
you're
I
looking
can
for
just say.
silence.
I can say that you're triggered, and that you have no specifics and no rational reasoning to offer me about why you just made that statement. And I think that's your own ignorance,
You could think that if you want.
because you're triggered emotionally,
Dell calling someone triggered is just dripping with irony, isn't it?
and I'm no emotional. I'm trying to be objective. I've got no personal gripe with any of you guys.
I know you don't.
But if you can offer me specifics, I would totally analyse that and say, well, fair enough, you've made a valid point.
It's obvious that your videos are there to try and get a reaction out.
Aye, well, that's what the questions are about, to engage in the topic.
Of course that is what Dell does. He knows it, we know it, hell, his own subscribers know it. Well, there we go. What an interesting insight into Dell and his street activism there. I don't think that one went as well as he hoped, did it? But for now, we are all done and dusted on another Flat Earth Friday. I do hope you enjoyed that one. Thank you so much for watching. It's truly appreciated it. I say it every time, but honestly, it really is. Without you guys watching, I wouldn't be here. If you really enjoyed it, then please do consider subscribing to the channel. There's more of the same. And if you love this video in particular, hit the like button. Just enough time to once again thank Bespoke Post for sponsoring today. Remember to get 20% off your first box. Click the link in the description and enter SciMan20 at checkout, or go to bespokepost.com/SciMan20. I've been Simon Dan. Have yourselves a great day, and I'll see you all tomorrow for another Misconception Mini. See you then.